So Webull just approved trading Nanos by CBOE, and this is actually a major step and is a huge plus for those who are looking at trading options and getting a better feel for trading the S&P 500, but trading options maybe with a smaller account size or with a risk management approach that allows you to scale in and scale out of multiple contracts and not have to worry about how much these contracts cost. This is going to be a major key, so we're going to dive right into it. For those who are not familiar, this channel, we primarily focus on tutorial-based content. We talk about the stock market, we talk about trading platforms. So if you guys want more of that content, consider subscribing or check out some playlists that we have already on the channel. We got playlists on Webull, we got playlists on different trading patterns, platforms, FinViz. I mean, you name it, we got a lot of stuff there, and we're going to keep building out more stuff. So let us know in the comments what you want to see next. But Nanos is actually massive. So let's just take a look here, and I'll just walk us through this. You can also look at CBOE's site, and they have their introduction to Nanos. But to be honest, it's actually easier to Webull does a better job of explaining it, although there are some more articles you can look at here on CBOE's site. But let's just kind of walk us through what Webull's site shows, and then we'll actually do some live examples. So make sure you stay tuned for the live examples. We'll talk about this, and then you guys can see how it works live on my own Webull platform. We're going to use the desktop platform on a Mac. So why this is actually really important, it allows you to now trade options on the S&P 500 index, okay? So there are other kind of tickers, if you want to call it that you can trade. So you can trade SPX, you can trade XSP, you can trade SPY, you can trade a bunch of different things. The problem is trading outside of Nanos, these contracts are actually a lot more expensive. So it requires more upfront capital and essentially a larger account, because if you're on a smaller size account and you can afford some of these options, that's great. But if you get a 20% move up or down or against you, that could be a pretty big movement in your account, and you don't want to risk that much, right? So you might want to practice, you might want to get a feel for options, but the contracts are a little too expensive. I know you can find cheap option contracts for SPY, but then those kind of are very volatile, or those contracts are way out of the money, and you're dealing with so much time decay. So it's like, oh man, this kind of stinks. Why can't there just be a better way to get some more leverage, right, on my trade, instead of just trading SPY or trading whatever, VOO or just the NASDAQ, just shares, right? I could go ahead and I could trade options on the S&P index, but I can get more leverage, but I can kind of cater it to my account size, whether my account size is $100, $500, 10,000, 100,000, $1 million. It doesn't matter. I can cater it to whatever I need to do. So that's what's really cool about this. Another thing to note too, with Webull option trading, these options actually settle the next day. So if you're on a cash account, this is a great thing. But the biggest drawdowns to having a cash account is it takes a couple of days for your money to settle once you sell a stock or whatever. But when it comes to options, it settles the next day. So if you're under the PDT rule, switch your account over to a cash account. I would highly recommend doing so. All you got to do is go into your account settings. You probably have to sell all your stocks, make sure you have everything kind of set up where your account is literally all cash at that point. Give it a couple of days to settle, then go ahead, switch to a cash account. You'll be good to go, and now you can trade options, and that money will settle the next day. So you can pretty much be using your entire account, half your account on a position, and then that'll be good to go the next day. And so you can kind of keep day trading with that money and not have to worry about the PDT rule, the pattern day trade rule, which we have a video already on the channel going over how to kind of avoid that on the Webull platform. So I'd highly recommend checking that out. But let's dive deeper. So these contracts are European style. So what does that actually mean? It means they can only be exercised on the expiration date. Okay, so if you want to exercise your options and to get the shares, you can only exercise on the expiration date, and they can be traded from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 4:15 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, so you get that extra 15-minute window after the market closes that you could still trade these contracts, which you can do with SPY and so forth as well. However, on the last trading day, the option expiration day, they will expire at 4 p.m. Eastern time. There are limited strike prices to choose from, which we'll look at in a second here. So we have to understand that and take that into account. And they do expire in no more than 1 week. Okay, so they're not going to give you very long or long dated options here. There's going to be a couple options you can choose from. Keeps it pretty simple, but the leverage and how much it's going to cost you out of your pocket is what it's all about. So obviously they talk about the risks, and we know the risks of option trading and all that good stuff. And we have some more videos on the channel if you guys want to dive deeper into option trading on Webull. There's tons of videos already in the playlist tab going over different strategies, and there's tons of videos, or there are a couple of videos at least diving deeper through how the platform works, stop losses, buying and selling. So it's a great resource here on the channel on the Webull playlists, or also the options trading playlist as well. So what you'll do is you'll go to the, you'll search it up, you'll type in the option, or you go to the option chain on the mobile app. We'll do it on the desktop here. And then you'll view the option chain, pick the option that you want, calls, puts. So you think stocks are going up, you think the S&P is going up or down, play either side, pick your option. The bid and ask will be, there just like any other stock. You'll go to select your option trading style, which we got plenty of videos on all the different styles here that Webull offers already on the channel. Then you go ahead and pick your contract, trade it, and just like anything else, you'll submit your buy order, a limit order, just like you would, with anything else. So that's how it goes, and it's pretty straightforward on the app, confirming the order, all that stuff. But now let's talk about how this actually goes on the desktop platform and how this works and the leverage and what I mean by that, because it's really, really important. And I want to walk us through, it's best to visualize this, okay? You can go back up here to this little chart, which is cool. It's awesome and it's helpful to visualize, but people will be like, okay, I still don't understand what this means. What does this mean? Why would I trade Nanos when I can go and trade SPY options or, XSP or SPX? Why would I trade Nanos? So right now I'm looking at SPY. Here's the S&P 500 ETF, right? We don't want this though. So what you're going to do is you're going to go up in not your order entry widget, type this in any of the search bars except the order entry. For whatever reason, it's not showing up on that for me. Maybe it will for you, but you're going to go ahead and you're going to go type in Nanos. And what you're going to see is that there it's going to be Nanos S&P 500 index, and then it has the CBOE underneath as well. So pull that up. I would highly recommend you add this to a watch list so that it's easy to kind of integrate to. For example, I add it to my large cap option play and I pull it right here. I can find Nanos down on this list somewhere. Right there it is. So I pull up Nanos, and just like that, it's on my watch list, and I can go ahead and click on it and open it up just on my platform. Easy, simple as that. So right now I am looking at a 15-minute chart for Nanos, okay? I can zoom this out to the daily chart just like anything else. Right now, this doesn't have that much history because it only recently got approved on Webull. So we have history going back to March 8th, and then we can kind of see how the S&P has moved since then. But this is roughly in line with SPY. So it's roughly the same price as SPY. So for example, Nanos right now is $456.69. Now, I go to the 5-minute chart. We'll go to the 5-minute chart to play this off, and make it a little bit easier to see. So here's the 5-minute chart. I'm using hollow candlesticks. That's just my preference. Everyone has their own personal preference, I guess, at the end of the day. So you might say to yourself, okay, cool. I look over on the right-hand side, and I'll make sure I'm minimized so you guys can see my layout as best as possible. And I know it's a bit large, but hopefully you guys can still see this. Okay, so you guys can see that how it's not available to trade. I can't buy a share of Nanos. I can't. But what I can do is I go to the option widget, okay? And now what do we got here? We got some light, something just popped up. So now we can trade the options, okay? So this is what it's all about, and this is why it's really, really cool. But now here's the catch, okay? And after consulting Webull's customer support, which actually they responded pretty quick, I got some more information on this. And if you look at this right now, you look at the option chain, if you are familiar with options trading or you've watched some of our other videos and you kind of have a better feel for this type of stuff, and you've seen Webull's layout and you've seen us talk about open interest in the past, you'll notice that the open interest here is quite low. And you'll also notice that the spreads, the difference between the bid and the ask is quite high. And with S&P options, SPY, if you go to SPX, if you go to whatever, even QQQ, you want to play the NASDAQ. When you're trading these options, these spreads are some of the tightest spreads in the game, right, in the market, because usually there's insane liquidity and we see some crazy movements up and down, but these spreads are usually very, very tight, a couple cents at the max. Sometimes, when you're looking at SPY options that are expiring this week, you can be looking at spreads of 1 cent. That's it, which is great. So you can market buy, market sell in and out, and you don't have to worry. If you were to market buy or market sell these, you're going to get screwed. And it's legitimately, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not even worth trading. And I'm not gonna tell you, hey, trade this. Like, literally don't trade this right now. Please don't. That's the biggest catch. But what you could start to do is, as these spreads tighten up and as more open interest comes in, then it might make some more sense. But you need to make sure you're paying attention to the open interest right here on the left-hand side for calls, and on the right-hand side, here it is for puts. You got to be paying attention to this stuff, okay? What you also note here too is, here's Webull's response. The reason for open interest is the product in the very early stages. That's what they said. Please allow time for Nanos to gain momentum, which in turn will lead to greater liquidity. Hope this was helpful. Makes sense. That was what I thought was going to be the case, but now we got the confirmation of this is still in the early stages. Now, also, if you go over to Interactive Brokers or another platform that allows you to trade Nanos, it's the same thing. It's not like it's just on Webull. You go trade on Interactive Brokers, there's still, low open interest, low liquidity. Once Nanos is able to be traded by a lot more platforms, let's talk about TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, and so forth, which when you're watching the video, it may or may not already be there. I don't believe it is as of right now on those platforms. Then you're going to see a lot more trading volume. And in reality, this should and could do very, very well in terms of volume. And I think this would be probably the best place to go for beginner options traders if you want to start trading the S&P. This will be the best place to go if there is unlimited liquidity in terms of being able to get as much as you want, minimal spreads, and being able to get in, get out, no problem, right? And if that's the case, you'll be fine. So in the meantime, how do we do this? I'll just walk us through. It's pretty much the exact same thing as trading regular options, but you need to understand the spreads and all that stuff. So if I go up here to the 447 puts for the S&P right now, we take a look at for Nanos. Nanos is trading at 446.81 or 83 now as we speak. If I want to go buy these, I will go ahead, and if I click on the bid or the ask, it'll open up the order entry widget right here. I could go and order, enter my order this way. I can go to the graph feature as well. Pretty straightforward, and what you do is essentially you would just walk yourself through, go back to the order entry, go back to the table. Okay, here's the strike price, here's the ticker symbol, here's the expiration date. Here I'm buying puts, I'm buying them, not selling them. I'm getting 10, limit order, here's my price. Walk yourself through, boom. Now make sure when you're putting in limit orders, it's something I shouldn't need to necessarily tell you, but I feel like, you just need to understand this too. Our bid is 182, ask is 212 on this specific contract. Now it's changing, so you guys can kind of see how it's fluctuating. Now, if I want to get filled right away, I'll buy at the ask. If I don't want to get filled right away, I want to get a better entry, I'll put my order closer to the bid. In a situation where the spreads are very, very tight, let's say a couple cents, 1 or 2 cents, not a huge deal. You could just market buy in, right? If you wanted to, or market sell out if you wanted to get in and you're expecting a decent move in the markets, and you'll be fine. So that's kind of one thing to just note. Just make sure you're using limit orders if the liquidity or if the spreads are pretty big. And if the open interest is honestly under a couple hundred, I would just stay away. Really, it's just not worth it, because if that's the case, the spreads will be too big anyway. And so if you see a spread that's 20, 30 cents, just stay away on Nanos. If you're looking at SPY, you guys will see that the spreads are super, super tight. If I click on anything to the right-hand side of the bid or the ask price, it'll open up this contract, and it will now show us the chart. If I go back to the chart feature, it'll now show us the chart of just this option contract, or this Nanos contract, and its trading lifespan. And then the order entry will be simple right here. I can go ahead and now enter how many shares or how many option contracts I want to get. Here's where it's really, really cool, okay? Because when I go and do this, let's say I'm putting an order for $2, okay? If I wanted to buy one contract here now, guys, it is going to literally cost me $2, okay, for one contract. On SPY, if I wanted to buy one contract at $2 a contract, you multiply that by 100, and guess what? Now it costs me $200 for one contract. So now I can play a contract that's in the money now. We're in the money on these puts. I can play a contract with $2. And okay, great, $2 is not going to be a big deal, but if you're just practicing options trading, it's almost like paper trading, but just with super, super small money, great way to do it. You want to go and get 10 contracts? Okay, let me go get 10 contracts. 10 contracts, guys, is going to cost me $20. $20 out of my pocket, okay? I want to go buy 100 contracts. Now it costs me $200. So you can kind of see just how cool this is going to be for smaller accounts and for just learning options and trading the S&P without having to worry about crazy high contract prices. And now you can go ahead and play in the money contracts. Let's go back here really quick. Go and play, let's for example, I want to buy the 460 puts. They're $12, $13 a contract right here. That's expensive. I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay that much if I'm buying SPY. That's going to cost me over $1,000 for one contract. Well, now I can go and get 5 contracts right here. Let me pull these up. I can go and get 5 contracts on these guys, and it's going to cost me $66 on these 5 contracts. And now I can practice scaling in, scaling out, and it's going to be really nice because now I'm playing with much more intrinsic value. So now I'm playing almost, the delta here is negative 99. So for every $1 move in Nanos, these are going to move pretty much $1. So you're trading like 1-to-1 almost in terms of contract price versus the actual price of Nanos of the index. And now you get a much better feel. You have more leverage on your trade. So you're able to kind of leverage yourself better than just buying shares. And you can practice options trading all in Nanos right here. So that's why I think it's really, really cool. And it could be really, really cool and really beneficial to new traders. But you have to understand, as of right now, the spreads are huge. And as of right now, there is low liquidity. So as this picks up and as this is, gets more steam, it's fairly new in general. Not just Webull, it's fairly new in general. So as it picks up, gets more attention, gets more steam, gets more, people behind it, this could be really, really cool. So hopefully this video is helpful. Hopefully you got something out of it. Any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. I will be happy to answer those in the future. And it's definitely something that I will certainly be trading if I notice the liquidity and the open interest really picking up. So that is Nanos in a nutshell. Hopefully that was helpful. If you guys have not signed up for Webull, there'll be a link in the pinned comment and video description box to get some free stocks when you sign up to Webull. So I highly recommend you do so there. Outside of that, those option videos, those option tutorials, and those option playlists are a great place to go if you want to learn more option strategies, learn how the platform works, and all that good stuff when it comes to Webull. Thanks so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.